What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Real Housewives of Potomac. This is Season 9, Episode 2, and the episode is titled Double Trouble. Let's go ahead and jump right into this review. So we start this episode off back at the Attitude Party, and Mia is over there crying her shoulda, coulda, wouldas in the bathroom about how, she's a great mother and she always looks out for her kids. And I'm just like, here's the thing, Mia. Yes, you may always look out for your kids and your kids are well taken care of. However, the way you've been moving in between Gordon and Ink, it's messy and it does have an effect on the kids because you are in the public eye now. This is not a situation where, if you messed around with Ink and Gordon found out or whatever it is and you were just a little nobody. No, it's on a public platform. The things that Gordon said about how you've been moving and how you don't think that the baby is his and how the kids saw you in bed with this other man, like, girl, it's looking like you moving real sloppy. And your kids are going to have to deal with those after effects because now there's questions in their heads. So, nonetheless, I feel like I'm on Karen and Giselle's side when they were questioning Mia. Nonetheless, moving on, we try to get back into the Attitude Party or whatever, and Wendy comes up because it's time for her to get her hat. And it starts off with Giselle basically saying how these two are not on good terms and they don't see eye to eye. However, Giselle says that she wants to move forward and have a better relationship with Wendy. Do I think that she really wants to get to know Wendy and hang out with Wendy? No. But she doesn't have Robin to lean on anymore, so she's just trying to interact with everybody to see where she can get in, where she can fit in. Alright, so Mia ends up coming back to the table, right? And Karen, as well as Giselle, they apologize to her because they know that she's a good mom or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, so y'all just apologizing just to apologize? Because I feel like y'all still feel the same way about Mia. Y'all still feel like she was moving trifling and shiesty. Alright, so let's go ahead and wrap up this little Attitude Party. I think they gave out another hat to Jacqueline, and they gave Karen a cake. Sung happy birthday, yay, yay, yay. And they took a photo. That wraps that up. Now let's go ahead and move on to Giselle meeting up with Wendy. First things first, Giselle, you actually look really nice in this scene. However, Wendy, it's not that Wendy looks bad at all. I'm just trying to figure out, who is Wendy trying to be this season? Because I feel like every year her style changes up. But nonetheless, let's get into this conversation. So, it took a minute for them to actually have the conversation. And it starts off with Giselle saying how basically she doesn't like when Wendy uses a demeaning tone or she talks, and then you have Wendy saying how she doesn't care for the way Giselle alienates people. I don't know, something about this conversation gives me that these two ladies have already spoken. It's given that they have already spoken off camera. It was like, listen, I know we don't always see eye to eye, but we want to make a good season, especially considering two girls have already left the show. Candace left on her own merit, but Robin got the chop, okay? So anybody can be next. So I think it's better for us to make good TV and get along instead of, us possibly losing a job. That's what I feel like happening. Because they just kind of forgave. They didn't even forgive each other. I'm not even going to say that. The only thing that each person would say something, and then the other person would be like, okay, I understand that. Oh, okay. I'm just like, okay, there's no rebuttals. There's no nothing. Okay. If this is how we going to smooth things over for the new season, I guess. So we also see the ladies talk about Karen's little birthday party that Giselle threw. And then they start talking about Mia. And honestly, I didn't care for the rest of this conversation. Let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so we actually see Stacy. She's at home with her daughter, as well as her nanny. And here's the thing. This girl is actually from Detroit, y'all. Who would have known? I don't know. I just did not get Detroit vibes from Stacy. Alright, so we also learned that her and her husband are, yes, going through a divorce. but they still live together. And not only are they living together, they don't plan on telling their daughter about the divorce until things get more finalized. I'm just like, whoa, that's a little weird. Like, you guys are just gonna pretend like y'all are still together until y'all actually get the divorce, and then just spring it on this little girl. Next thing you know, mommy and daddy are living in separate houses? Okay. I guess it's just a little bit more planned out and giving it a little bit more time for the child to start to adjust. I'm not really sure. It's very interesting. Because at the same time, she goes on to talk about how she has 2 houses or whatever. One where she stays as well as her ex, as well as where, the little girl stays. And then she says she has a crash pad somewhere in D.C. And I'm just like, wait, what? So basically, she made it seem like when he's in town, she go stay at the crash pad. And when he not in town, that's when she can come back to the big house. Girl, get your life together. I'm sorry, you doing a lot of moving around for this man who ain't your man no more, considering he's dating other people. Like, I'm trying to make sense of this. But then I started to think maybe she uses the crash pad so that way she can mess around with her dude as well. Like, I'm just a little confused. I feel like the way Stacy is moving is given very calculated as the way how she wants to be perceived and presented on the show. But honestly, her little divorce story ain't too far off of Ashley's. Okay? Moving on, we see Karen. She actually meets up with Kierna. They seem to be really close now. Hit it off. Great friendship. We love to see it. So basically, Kierna lets us know that she's about to move in with her man Greg. And number one, they're building a house from the ground up. Shout out to them, because that definitely ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're going to be building a house that's probably worth multi-millions. Okay? Number one. Number two, she said that right now she is moving in with Greg or whatever, and this will be their first time living together. Now, we also learned that she actually got engaged 9 years ago, but unfortunately, her fiance passed away. She didn't really go into detail as to what happened, but that's terrible. I can't imagine, getting engaged to somebody and then next thing you know, they're no longer here. Now, for her, she clearly has gone through a healing process and now she's with this guy, Greg. But also at the same time, he's going to have to put a ring on it soon. Because even her mom is like, okay, this is cute that y'all gonna live together and y'all building a house together, but where's your ring? Okay? Now, moving on. We learned that Giselle is not a fan of Kierna. Now, we already knew that because she tried to blame Kay and make it seem like she was the reason why that fight broke out at the last GNA event. Which that was not true. So basically, for Karen's birthday, she did not even invite Kay, knowing that she's cool with Karen and they have a really good friendship. Said, all right, Giselle, you already back on your BS. Now, Karen, she does mention the fact that she thinks that maybe her having this party was a little bit too soon and fresh from the accident, because she was uncomfortable and, you have some of the ladies trying to ask her questions. And I'm just like, girl, well, who actually asked you a question? Because the only person who spoke up was Jacqueline. And then you and Mia kind of got into it. But honestly, that was pretty much that scene. We got to move on real quick because we see Ashley and the new girl, Stacy, having a conversation. So these two are trying to get to know each other. And Stacy ends up asking Ashley, like, oh, what's your ethnicity or something like that. And she's like, oh, I'm biracial. I have a white father, a black mother. So then she asks her, well, what do your kids identify as? And I'm just like, well, her kids identify as little boys. Because I'm pretty sure she's not really had racial conversations with her children who are under the age of 5. Like, be so for real. But when it comes to Ashley and Stacey, I find it very interesting that they swear that their kids ain't around black people. Yet they're on a TV show fully around black women who also have children or grandkids or whatever else they got. They're surrounded by black people. However, you mean to tell me none of y'all friends got kids? Like, that makes absolutely no sense to me at all. Like, at this point, I just need people to admit and, like, realize that they chose not to have their kids around black people. Because when old girl was like, oh, because my family's back in Detroit. And I'm just like, okay, your family can be back in Detroit, but you mean to tell me you're not going to try to make friends with people in the city that you're in right now? Because it seems like you're already well acquainted with some people. They don't have kids that your kid can hang out with. Your kid goes to school. Do they go to an all-white school? There's no other black kids there? Where do Wendy send her kids? Let's start asking some real questions. Where does Wendy send her kids? So that way you can probably meet some more black moms. So that way your kids can kick it with some black people. And also, I'm giving Stacey a side eye because she's like, my daughter, she has so much pride about being German and Australian and all of these things, but I want her to be proud of being a black girl. Well, baby, that's your job to instill that in her. That is your job to show her images of positive black women and positive black girls. Like, whose job do you think that is, sweetheart? Oh, but right, you're investing so much in her learning about German culture, in her speaking in German and all of these things, yet you're not doing your job teaching her about black culture. And then, as I continue to watch Stacey in this scene, y'all, Stacey gives me the vibes that she will make everything look pretty, okay? Everything has to look perfect and pretty for her life. However, it is a hot-ass mess. Because this is the same woman who said that they were going to wait until everything was settled with their divorce before their child finds out. Because they want everything to look what? Pretty and proper. Then we come on over to her dating some man who's supposedly this devout Christian. However, he's dating a married woman. I'm like, what is this? Like, you and your ex are dating other people. You're dating this man who you ain't even kissed. Like, what the hell going on? All right, so moving on, we see Karen and Giselle meet up at Giselle's place, and they talk about the hat party or whatever. And they also talk about the fact that Jacqueline is on Karen's timeout list because Karen is feeling some type of way with Jacqueline saying that she's going to wait for the verdict to, I guess, choose what side she on. And at the end of the day, like, yes, Karen is absolutely wrong for drinking and driving. She's too old for that. But at the same time, you should still be, like, supporting your friend. Now, here's the interesting thing. Because they talk about Kay, and Karen lets Giselle know, like, listen, Karen and she kind of feeling some type of way because she wasn't invited to my birthday. And Giselle comes up with this BS answer like, oh, well, you know, I can only limit so many people to be in that room. Well, why was it okay for Mia to bring a friend, Jazzy, who does not even know Karen? Make that make sense, Giselle? It's because you don't like Kay. But she's like, oh, well, I'll invite her to the GNA event. You already know that she ain't gonna come to another GNA event because she done already got bopped on the head one time at the last one. So the ladies realize that they both have events happening on the same night. Now, according to Karen, she's going to be able to make it to both events, even though she don't even know what time her event starts. I say, now, Karen, get it together. Giselle, she's over there being shady in the confessional because she's like, what is Karen even being honored for, considering she just got all these charges? You know what I'm saying? Why are they honoring her? I said, okay, that's giving a little hateration, but that's okay. So what does Karen decide to do? Well, she's going to go ahead and have a Sprinter van available for the ladies to travel between Giselle's event and her event. I was like, uh-oh, we already know Giselle ain't going to like this because she wants them to fully commit to her event. So let's get into that. Okay, so we first start off at the GNA event, and I must say it looks really beautiful in there. I do like the fact that GNA has transitioned from just being a little workout line, a little athleisure brand, to actually wanting to help people, because this is all in honor of Giselle's father, who passed away from a brain tumor, I believe. Now, Giselle is already feeling some type of way because of Karen trying to intrude on her event by having the ladies go to her first, or even providing the whole transportation thing, because this was all in honor of her father. And then the ladies seemed like they had already committed to her event. So, if anything, she feels like Karen is just trying to, make some of the ladies choose, and that's not cool. So we see the ladies, they get on the sprinter, right? And I find it interesting that Stacy is the main one who's piping up about, I just feel like Karen, she sent out this invitation after we all decided to go to Giselle. Girl, well, you could have just went to GNA. That's what you could have done. You didn't have to get on a sprinter. You could have just did like Vivian and showed up to the event that you said you were going to go to first. Like, I don't know. Stacy is getting a little weird to me. All right, so the ladies actually end up calling Ashley to be like, hey, girl, we're coming, but we'll probably get there about 8:30. She's like, no, can you please come at least by 8, right? So they're over there trying to come up with a plan as to how they're going to make it to both events. And Wendy's like, listen, I'm just going to go to Karen event. And Kay, she decides to do the same thing as Wendy. So they're probably just going to go to Karen's event and then take an Uber back home or whatever. And here's the thing. Ashley goes to tell Giselle what the lady said, and Giselle's like, no, absolutely not. They're rude. This is not okay. And she basically feels like if they're going to go to Karen's event, they need to stay over there. Now, speaking of Karen's event, the ladies make it, and baby, as fast as they got in, they got right on out. Or at least the 3 women who were not going to stay for the whole thing, because like I said, Kay and Wendy, they were staying. So they get there, y'all, in like 20 minutes. Okay, I guess traffic has died down a little bit. They got there a bit faster. Baby, they got there at 8 o'clock. Giselle and Ashley had already gave their speech. And they walk in like, oh, this is so nice. All of this. And baby, Giselle beeline to them was like, nope, y'all gotta go. Y'all will not be here. I was like, whoa. Giselle about to put them out. Y'all know what it reminded me of? Y'all remember on Housewives of Atlanta when they came to see Nene in LA and they were late for her dinner party and she sent them on their way? That's what this whole thing reminded me of. But y'all, that was the episode. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Do y'all think that Giselle was wrong for telling the ladies to leave? Do you think that Karen was wrong for doing the whole sprinter thing? And what do y'all think about Stacy and Ashley's conversation about the ethnicity of their children? Let me know in the comments. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.